we decided to part ways.
Play the theme music. To this episode of Tripology. I'm Alan, and I'm here with the ever-hydrated Adam.
You got it right, mate. I like to stay hydrated.
You've always been a man who prioritizes hydration, and that's one of the things I like about you. Mate, I've got a wealth of things to tell you because last week, me and you decided to go off and have individualistic adventures irrespective of one another.
Yeah. I think the fans will be happy to hear that, I imagine.
Yeah, well, you said to me, you went, Alan, I'm going away on this specific day. And I said, great. Perfect. Thanks for letting me know. I'll go away on that day as well.
Yeah, it makes business sense.
Yeah, totally. Because, we do this full time. Then you said, change plans. I'm actually going to go away on a slightly different day.
Yeah. No, that was my bad. That was a boo-boo.
Then I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll continue to go away on the day that I was originally going to go away. I'll extend my trip to last to the time that you come back.
Very considerate.
We've gone off. We've had individual adventures. We've not caught up each other at all on those adventures. We said, save it for the podcast.
Yeah, I think that is one thing that we always have at the forefront of our mind because we speak every day and we also love chatting with each other about the different stories. To then withhold that information so that we can tell each other live on the podcast will garner a genuine reaction, but it is bloody difficult keeping a secret from you.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's things that happened on this trip that I've deliberately withheld. Don't worry, it doesn't concern you, but there's things that happened to me that I've not told you about because I thought I'd like to tell the story live on Tripology.
Okay, amazing.
So you might know, in the next episode, you're going to tell all about your trip.
Yeah, stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, exactly. So my trip, I have a beautiful friend here in Mumbai. We decided to go on a road trip together.
Amazing.
We were searching for places to go. You went to Delhi.
I went to Delhi.
Flight away.
The capital.
Was an option for me because, for a number of reasons, I've already been to Delhi. Is one of them.
We all know you never go to the same place twice.
Exactly. So we wanted to keep it a little bit more local. We wanted to do a road trip. We settled on about 5 hours south of Mumbai. There's a place, a region that has a wildlife sanctuary. Me and my friend, we're both into animals.
Very on brand for you.
There's a fort down at the bottom. It's a place called Murud. We decided we were going to take a road trip straight down to Murud, see what there is to see there.
You're not driving, are you?
Mate, well, this is it. So, no, they were driving.
Whew.
They had access to a vehicle.
Good.
And I was grateful for that. Not only because...
We all were. We all were.
Exactly. Because Tripology fans know that my driving is... it leaves a lot to be desired, doesn't it?
I don't want to say anything negative about your driving, but you've had a couple of mishaps. And I wouldn't say, as a percentage of the total amount of times you've driven,
yes,
it's quite high.
The mishaps.
Well, I've been driving since I was like 17, which is a bloody long time, in a number of countries with a number of vehicles.
Yeah.
And I've had one accident when someone else was driving.
I've not had an accident whilst driving a car that's impacted anyone else. I slid off the road once in icy conditions and I was helped by some Canadian people.
Blame it on the ice?
That was the ice's fault. And I've aborted a trip because I wasn't confident in the ice.
Well, I just pressed triangle and bailed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Up onto the side of the road. Yeah, exactly. Good reference. And, but I've never actually hit another car or anything like that.
Okay.
But you are right. I leave a lot to be desired in the driving department. So they were driving. That was great.
Perfect.
I like doing the bit of DJing.
Yeah?
I like sitting in the passenger seat. I pride myself on being good company on a road trip, despite the fact I love to sleep in vehicles.
I can attest to that.
I stay awake. I'm good company. I enjoyed it. I was in charge of navigation. How do you think you are in a navigatory position on a road trip?
I think I'm fine. I think I do quite a good job. I mean, we are assuming that you're also looking at Google Maps or something, right?
Yeah. I wasn't like using compass or anything like that.
Yeah. The position of the sun.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I get by. I think like anyone else, you just look at the dot on the map and the line and try and give a little bit of information as to what's to come. Maybe there's a roundabout in a couple of kilometres or there's some congestion.
That's the sort of notice you give, a couple of kilometres.
Yeah, I think so. Just so they know what's coming.
Well, I consider myself pretty decent at navigation, and I'm new on the scene in Mumbai. I was trying to impress the person I was with. I was like, "Don't worry about it. I'm great at navigating. You just focus on the road because I'm a very experienced traveller, so don't worry about the navigatory aspect of anything. I'm okay, but I tell you what, there's some surprising things there's times where I was certain I had all the time in the world for a left turn, and suddenly it was upon us. And in that situation, do you just admit that you've missed a turn, or do you see Google Maps reroute and you try and pretend like it was always part of the plan to miss that turn?
No, I think I just own up to it. I'll say, yeah, that was the one. Sorry.
Surely it depends on the length of the detour.
Yeah, but right, I can kind of see where this is going.
Well,
now.
no, but there was one occasion where I missed a turn, and I saw that there's just a couple of minutes down the road, there was another turn that kind of takes us around the same line. I think in that scenario, it's ethical just to ignore the fact that you missed the original turn.
That's fine. What are you doing in the meantime, though? Changing the song?
Changing the subject. I'm just trying to pretend like everything's fine. No, but honestly, my navigation was pretty on point most of the time, but just a few times missed a couple of turns, had to do a U-turn once.
Oh, no.
I think I'm not used to the Indian roads.
Yeah. Blame it on the Indian roads, the infrastructure, the cow that inevitably walks past.
I did okay, irrespective of all that. I think it was fine. Quite a nice long road trip down to Murud. It's beautiful down there, mate.
Yeah? Is it built up?
No. This is the thing. Just 4 hours, 5 hours south of Mumbai. Completely different atmosphere. People who clearly live completely different lives to the people in Bombay.
Yeah, I love that about India and Canada for some weird reason. I think those are two parallels we can draw, is that 4 hours gets you almost nowhere.
Yeah,
in terms of the rest of the country, right?
Right, but here, like, just topographically and in terms of people's existence, just very, very different. The infrastructure is completely different. The kind of jobs people have is obviously very, very different.
Farming?
Yeah, and like refuse, like build up and stuff like this, because it's just not got the infrastructure of a modern city.
Sure.
So it just looks very, very different.
Yeah.
But people were very, very friendly. Clearly surprised to see a white guy that far south of Mumbai, I'll say that.
Oh, really? You noticed a few more looks than you get here?
100%, yeah.
It is much more cosmopolitan here, isn't it? It's quite... I wouldn't describe it as multicultural, obviously.
Yeah.
It's still maybe unusual to see someone like you walking around the streets of Mumbai.
Yeah, I mean, this place made Mumbai look like a veritable melting pot, because we went for a little sunset walk on the beach, and one person just flat out exclaimed, "Hey, white guy!"
Really?
Yeah, really called me out. Hey, there he is. And yeah, a few little interactions like that. It was definitely unusual to see me walking around that part of town.
Yeah.
But overall, incredibly friendly people. We were playing with some puppies outside some houses. They invited us in for chai. It was just a beautiful time, man. Really enjoyed it.
How was the chai? Does it differ from what's sold here in Mumbai?
We didn't actually have the chai from that family. They were just offering us chai while we were playing with their puppy. But no, I mean, in terms of food and stuff like that, we had your thalis, your vegetarian options. The food's kind of similar 5 hours south of Mumbai than it would be in Mumbai. But the place, very different. And having access to a car as well. I mean, what a difference.
I know. Tell me about the fort. Do you know what it was used for? Is it like ramparts, or is it?
Yeah, it's a great big old fort that was, honestly, from where we were staying, a 30-second walk to this beach, and then the fort was right there.
Oh, wicked.
You had to take a ferry to get to it.
Right.
But we didn't do that. We just observed it from the beach side.
Nice.
Beautiful. Murud Fort. It's like, huge, big thing. They're actually building a bridge to it currently. Okay. And watching the sunrise over it was really beautiful. It was really cool.
What time's the sun rising over that way?
Quite early.
6.
I say sunrise. I mean sunset. We weren't up for the sunrise most of the time. But just like a short drive away from that, you've got these... just this amazing, you've got these tombs and a private beach, which is gorgeous to look at. And then these waterfalls, which we pursued. We wanted to go and hang out at the waterfall.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, don't know how good you are at this, but I sort of really pushed to go and see these waterfalls, didn't check whether they would be in fact wet during the dry season.
Yeah,
we arrived there, it was like a stagnant pool with a pipe running through it and a dam.
That was going to be my first question, was are they going to have water in at this time of year? Because we're approaching monsoon season pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely not. It was really dry, a couple of pools of water,
yeah,
this Victorian dam. right? Built and named after Queen Victoria during colonial times. And
That we don't talk about.
yeah. And
But
I
we
tell
get
you what-
reminded about on a daily basis.
Yeah, we are. And it was good though, because we were both into animals. So we sat down for like a good hour and watched all the frogs and tadpoles and stuff like that. So it was actually quite good.
Oh, nice. But,
Yeah.
no, but do you imagine them to be spectacular? Would you advise other people to go and see Murud?
I think it's difficult to recommend the waterfalls, Adam, without having seen them. But I think plan seasonally. But do you know what it really makes me think?
Go on.
I think that oftentimes the places that no one visits, like you say, oh, have you heard of Murud to someone from Mumbai? And most people seem to say no.
Yeah, I've witnessed that.
It's not really like a done thing. But I think with the right company and an open mind, you can sort of have a really cool time anywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that at all. What made you choose that place in particular, though?
Just one of her friends recommended it to us. I
Oh,
tell you
so
what as
nice.
well happened. We were
Oh.
walking on the beach and there were these razor shells. You can tell me what you would do in this situation.
Yeah, like
You
a
know-
razor clam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like swirlier and spikier than that, but like almost like that with creatures inside. I
Right.
saw one, I picked it up,
Yeah.
and I thought, would this be safer in the ocean? So I tossed him back.
Right.
Is that the right thing to do?
I don't know. Did you expected that it was just washed up onto the beach?
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't want a bird to eat him, so I threw him into the sea. I launched him as far as I could to clear sand.
maybe listeners of the podcast, you can write in tripologypodcast@gmail.com if you know the answer to this. But I think I've seen those clams, or
Trying to get desperately to the beach.
Well, I've seen them. I think I've seen them sort of captured or harvested or whatever, and typically they do reside in the sand on the beach.
Right.
I don't know if that's categoric or whether I've just seen something and I'm
Well, that
confusing
seems
it.
right, because as I walked down the beach further, I saw another one.
Yeah,
I threw that one back.
right.
And then I walked a little bit more, and there was like 5 of them in a pile.
Like someone had been collecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I went, best maybe not to throw this into the ocean.
Well, hang on. In your defence, that actually supports your argument, doesn't it? Because if they're likely to be harvested or taken away for food or any other reason,
I liberated them.
yeah, maybe they're better off in the ocean. You just tossed
Maybe.
it in overarm,
Yeah, overarm.
or did you skim it?
First one, I did overarm, but I didn't like the parabola. So then second one, I did underarm. But as I did it, the sea came in and got into my shoes. And I sort of like a real ninny, just through
no.
the clam. And it was quite embarrassing.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I do think you can eat those.
Yeah.
Does it look like something you would have eaten?
No,
I'm
as because, as you know, I love animals. Which brings us, quickly on to the next part of the story, which is the main thing we were interested in doing in this part of town.
Uh-huh.
And this is Phansad Wildlife Sanctuary. I want to tell you all about it, but before we do that, we simply have to meditate. It's the only ethical way to proceed. So we'll do that right now. Like a razor clam tossed into the ocean and then bubbling to the surface, wondering, how did I get here? Allow your conscious mind to return into your brain box. And here we are talking about my trip to Murud, to Phansad, to the south part of Maharashtra. It was really an amazing trip. I loved it. And the main thing that we wanted to do was go and see some animals, yeah?
Yeah, I'm on board with this. I do know that we had a brief chat about this in the last Patreon section, where the Patreonies would be well aware that I was quite concerned about your safety regarding the animals that are found in said wildlife park.
You were concerned because there are leopards in this wildlife park.
Yes, dangerous, big cats, really big, scary cats.
Yeah, it's just
Beautiful.
it's a big national park area, right? There's leopards in there. There's, I think there's all kinds of different deer.
Mm.
And I think there's a lot of animals that Adam was worried might be a little bit dangerous. I will tell you right now,
Yeah.
I saw a grand total of 0 animals.
Oh no! Did you feel really sort of discouraged and demoralised and?
Well, because the thing is, you don't know that you're going to see no animals until the end of the experience,
Yeah,
right? So we're walking through this wildlife park,
unguided.
unguided, which is your main concern. You think that's really sketchy.
I do, because I just don't know. I know that, Alan, you you have an amazing ability to control animals' behaviour. I've seen you do it. When it comes to monkeys, you've even coached me through it. Because when we went to those Hindu caves, check out that episode, there was a monkey that was actually at one point on a lady's backpack, hanging off of her bag, and she was like swinging it around because she was trying to get her cookies that she'd brought along. Mental.
In case you get peckish at the Hindu caves.
Yeah. But yeah, basically you sort of coached people through it. You said just make eye contact, let them know that you're sort of in charge and that kind of thing, and it really worked. I've seen
got
it work.
Experience.
You have.
Yeah.
So
on the drive up, we did see some monkeys from the car, but we got there. We were offered a guide.
Right. We
went, no. We don't need a guide. We're just going to walk for a while.
We know loads about Hinduism.
Through the wildlife park, right? Exactly. So we set off, and at first, we maybe saw a couple of lizards scuttling, and you can hear kind of the noises of the jungle around you. And we're walking, we're talking. Really pleasant, nice anyway, to get out into nature after spending so long in Mumbai. So there's a positive aspect there. Because we chose not to go with a guide, the guide had given us a couple of directions in Hindi. Luckily, my friend spoke Hindi back then. So she said, the guy said, take a left turn, take another left, and then a right, and then you'll be at the observation tower, and then come back, and then that's like a big loop, and you'll be back at their place, right?
A couple of kilometres, something like that.
Exactly. It can take an hour, you can spend up to 3 hours, whatever you want, right?
Yeah, all the leopards, they'll just be there hanging around together. You'll see them all.
Exactly.
Worth the money.
So we're walking, and we're talking, and we take a left turn, but then we see another left turn. We're not quite sure whether it's actually a left turn or if it's just in like an interjection, a little bit, a path off to the side, so we ignore that one.
Okay, it looks a bit overgrown or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But when you've been walking long enough, that the directions, you start thinking maybe we should have taken that left turn.
Yeah.
And then it's been like an hour.
Oh, that's maybe longer than I would have left it, if I'm honest.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
On your own as well?
Yeah.
Are there other people like just milling around?
No one else. We've not seen anyone.
Okay. Is it also quite sort of overgrown and dense, thick bush?
There's a path.
Yeah.
Going off, but it's just me and her, no one else.
Oh, God.
I am so thirsty.
Right.
I've not brought any water with me, and neither has she.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah,
and
now I'm beginning to see the link between the hydrated. Oh, here we go.
No sunblock.
No, sunblock.
No sunblock, which is surprising, I know. Just forgot it. The sun is beating down on us.
Are you wearing a hat?
No.
You never wear hats, do you?
I'm bending my head to try and cop all the UV on the back of my neck.
Yeah, right? Jesus.
Because the back of the neck, that's where sun damage doesn't count,
No.
So
very forgiving, the back of the neck.
I know that I'm really, really thirsty. But you don't want to mention it, because the second it's out in the open, that I actually think we might be in trouble. Then it's out there. So I'm trying to remain in control. At a certain point, I just think I'll check on her. I go, are you really thirsty? Affirmative. We're all very, very thirsty.
Yeah. Oh no, that's awful, mate. So you haven't got any water, but at least you went the wrong way.
So this is it. We basically have a little chat.
Yeah.
And she goes, shall we turn back?
Mm-hmm.
Shall we just go back the way we came? And then worst case scenario, we've been out here for 2 hours. We've gone back the way we came.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable hour, but we're obviously we don't know where to go.
Yeah, it's
there was
about
a
priorities.
fork in the road, left and right.
Yeah.
We didn't know which way to turn.
Yeah, that would have been a dangerous decision.
And it's one of that stage where we're not terribly in trouble, but we're really feeling the heat quite badly.
What point in the day was this?
Middle of the day.
Okay.
Top of the sun's at its highest point in the sky.
So obviously for sort of sunburn, heat stroke, that kind of stuff, and staying hydrated, that's bad. But at least it wasn't as the sun was setting, because then I would have been pooping it.
Right, yeah, if it was about to get dark.
Yeah, I wouldn't have enjoyed that at all.
Sure. And obviously I feel some responsibility to the person I'm with, and also
the last person they're going to be asking for directions is you after your journey down there.
Exactly, yeah. But and also there's animals everywhere as well, right? We've not seen any, but we know they're out there.
Oh, you can hear them? There's a hum, there's a buzz.
There's grasshoppers going and everything like that. But this is it. I have been travelling a long time, Adam.
Right.
So I have an instinct. I have my phone, but the GPS doesn't work, but you can roughly sort of see. And I see that off in a direction is the observation tower, but the pin's moving around. It's very unclear as to where we are in relation.
Okay, right.
But I have an instinct. I say to her, let's just carry on for 5 minutes in this direction. I have a feeling.
Okay.
Right?
Right. What was the response?
Agreed.
Really?
Let's do it. Trust me.
Total chill.
Well, I mean, we're both dying of heat exhaustion, but there was as chill as one can be in such a context, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So we push on.
Right.
Lo and behold, 3 minutes later,
Yeah. Well inside the 5-minute marker.
an observation tower.
That you hadn't seen.
There it was, mate. A rickety tower reaching up into the thing. We'd committed to 5 more minutes and then turning back and doing the owl walk.
Sure.
3 minutes later, we climbed up an observation tower, shaded from the sun, sort of passing out.
Yeah. Wicked. How many stories up was it?
Oh, maybe 2.5.
Okay.
One and a half.
And you're looking over the canopy, are you?
Yeah, but I mean, they shouldn't have built an observation tower there. It was just like, you just see trees. And really, the absence of animals was very clear. At the top of it. But then, mate, the crazy thing is, we sort of recover in the shade. We're like, oh, man, we sort of saved ourselves there. Really good. Go down the observation tower. We're maybe 30 seconds away from the car park.
I really thought you were going to say there was someone, just a vendor selling bottles of water.
No, 30 seconds away from the car park. Imagine if we turned back at the first sign of trouble.
But how did you not even know that you were 30 seconds away from the car park?
Because it was a big loop. So when we were deciding to turn back, potentially, we were like 75% of our way through the loop.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I mean, there's a good news all round, really.
Yeah. I mean, good backpacker instincts from me to push on.
Yeah. Let's lean
Great
into
resilience from my friend.
Yeah.
And
patience.
Trust
maybe.
as well.
Yeah.
Trust in the face of information that the person you're with is not good at navigating.
Yeah.
But to be able to
Fair.
override that in your head and think, well, surely they'd have been dead traveling this long if they were truly that awful.
How bad was it in terms of dehydration and heat stroke and stuff? Were you really concerned in that moment, thinking if I don't get some water soon, this is going to spell disaster?
I think when you're with someone else, it's like you've got stuff to worry about because you're like, I don't know. Even if I thought I'd be okay for 2 hours, I just don't like. Do you know what it was? It was maybe 30 minutes away from it being emotionally unsalvageable. Like half an hour of continual heat and dehydration, then you'd both have to admit, oh, we're having a terrible time. Whereas we were still in the threshold of like...
We could see a family of leopards riding a family of elephants right now, and it still wouldn't make up for this terrible time.
But we were still in the grace period of like, oh, well, we got a bit hot and bothered, but it was a nice walk.
Okay, good. The fact that you didn't see any animals, does that sort of it dampened the spirits?
We went to have some water at the little canteen at the car park.
Yeah.
And my friend asked the person selling the water, oh, we didn't see anything. Have you ever seen anything? And she went, I've been here 30 years. I've never seen anything.
Oh, no, you're joking.
Yeah.
But in the car park, though?
No, she says, I often go out into the forest to get supplies and sticks and things, and never seen anything in this wildlife park.
Oh, no. Where's that Google review?
Yeah, I know, mate.
That would have saved you some time, wouldn't it?
There you go. I think it was nice still to get out of nature, and it really brings me to the point that you've got to embrace all kinds of things, because I did have a good time. It was nice to be out in nature. The waterfall wasn't what I expected, but we found the cool thing in it, the frogs, right?
Yeah.
To see that. The park wasn't what we expected, but it was still nice to be in nature in good company.
Yeah.
I honestly think you can get through anything if you like the people that you're with.
Definitely. And I'd also say, do you think there's something to be said about travelling to touristic spots or attractions that are just worth doing, but off peak season, away from the busy periods, that you get to see it at a different time of year? Sure, it's maybe not as impressive as it would have been if there were loads, thousands or millions of gallons of water gushing over the top, but you had it to yourselves.
Yeah, that is a nice thing. And of course, when you're doing these experiences, when you're doing these things, it's very easy to like tell the highlights, the story of like, oh, we nearly died of dehydration. We went to the waterfall and it was dry. But actually what it looked like was two people having fun, laughing, joking, looking at sunset over the fort. Like the whole experience of the trip was really enjoyable and beautiful and nice. And I enjoyed it a lot. So my recommendation would be to just embrace life a little bit, just do things, even if I think so often people fixate on the things that went wrong.
Yeah.
And
no, I wouldn't disagree.
And you could tell like the highlights of that trip and you might think it was a bad time, but actually it was a really brilliant time.
But can I add to that? Bit of a curveball. I often remember things to be better than they actually were at the time.
Yeah, so there's a few different types of fun, aren't there? There's the fun that's fun in the moment, and then there's the fun that only becomes fun after the thing is finished.
Yeah. Maybe we're going down a bit of a path here, but
make sure you brought some bottled water and sunscreen if you're going down a path. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I also think, and this is to the sort of travellers amongst us and the backpackers, the long-term travellers. I feel like I don't know. I want to say this live on air, but our bar is so high when it comes to experiences.
Yeah, no, I think it's valid. Yeah,
it's fair to say that. You know, what we do on a daily basis, or when we go backpacking for 6 months, a year, whatever it might be, the experiences that we have mean that in order for us to get that hit of dopamine, or for our minds to be opened even further, or however you want to phrase it, it's seeing a sunset or a sunrise just ain't going to cut it all the time.
Yeah, facts. And also, like, it was never going to be as amazing from an animal perspective as like the Masai Mara in Africa.
Right.
I was never thinking it would be that. So having an intelligent perspective about the potential that things have allows you to enjoy the little things.
Yeah, and in hindsight, maybe it was good that you didn't come across a leopard in that state.
You say that. I would have liked to see a leopard. I think leopards are nice, man.
No, I think they're very nice as well. I also think they could eat you.
Yeah, Adam was very worried in the Patreon section last week that I would be eaten by a leopard.
Yeah, because
I just think I'd be all right.
Well, I don't know. Write into the podcast if you've got any experience with leopards, but I don't think they're seen as something that shouldn't be. You definitely shouldn't approach a leopard, right?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, there's a reason why there was no animals to be seen in that park, and I think it's because most of the animals that live in that park like to stay away from humans, you know,
or have been killed by the leopards.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Oh, mate, there was an animal there that I learned about. It exists within the park,
right?
But we didn't see one. We just saw a bit of information about it, called a mouse deer. Have you ever heard of that?
I think I've seen pictures of it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Is it weird? Does it look like it's got 4 eyes?
No. It looks like a cross between a mouse and a deer, funnily enough. And
which half of it's the mouse?
That's so interesting. I think it's sort of the size and shape of a mouse, but with the body and markings of a deer.
Right.
It's got kind of a deer face, a deer nose. There's the only extant species within this order. It's the only existing one of like these sort of kind of very small deer-like creatures. I forget the scientific order they belong to. It begins with a T, turgidus or something.
Right.
But they, they're very, very rare. They stay away from people, but they exist within this park. I think it's really interesting. Cool animal. Look up a mouse deer if you get the chance.
So for the long-term fans, this is a little reference for them. Would you say in size it's bigger or smaller than a mastiff?
I would say it's smaller than a mastiff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which breed of well-known dog would you say it's the same size as?
Jack Russell.
What?
Yeah.
A deer the size of a Jack Russell?
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I'd say it's really small. I've seen some pictures. It's tiny.
What, for perspective? The size of a Jack Russell?
Yeah, I think so.
A deer?
Yeah.
That's so small.
I think so.
No wonder you didn't fucking see one.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I was looking with my binoculars. Yeah, they're tiny, man.
That's wicked.
I mean,
they're built like proportionally. They're built like a deer.
But it's not a deer.
Oh, okay.
It's a mouse deer, exists in this own order.
Wow.
So this is why it's difficult to get your head around it. If you think it's a deer, you'll think it's really small. If you think it's a mouse, you'll think, Jesus Christ, that's a mouse the size of a Jack Russell. But if you think of it as its own thing, it's the perfect size.
So it's like Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
Yeah, exactly. A deer's too big, a mouse is too small. Try on the mouse, deer. Yeah, exactly. It's my new favourite animal. Just for this week, and then I'll go back to like giraffe or something.
Your giraffe was the previous one.
I like giraffes.
Okay. Any other contenders in there?
Yeah.
Ocelot,
like
definitely.
capuchins, ocelots, yeah, of course. What I like about a giraffe, right, is they're an animal where their evolutionary journey is very, very clear. Because they have this vein that pumps blood through their neck, which goes, because the neck's increased gradually over time, the vein loops round a bone in their kind of chest area and then goes up.
Wow.
And it's really inefficient. And it causes them sometimes to pass out when they stand up.
Wow.
Because it has to pump downwards and then round and then up, as opposed to just straight from the heart upwards.
Sure.
It's an evolutionary issue that's caused by this gradual increase of the neck, as opposed to just a design element where it's just like, let's go straight up from the heart.
But is it not so they can reach the leaves on the top of the tree?
That's why their necks grow.
Yeah.
But this vein is like, it's just an unfortunate byproduct of the fact that it's happened so long over time, but it's not damaging enough for it to be evolved out, you know?
Right. You know, giraffes are quite a funny one in that I don't know why on my Facebook feed or Instagram feed, I often see lots of videos of animals like, you know, predators or lions catching prey or a cheetah that almost gets an antelope.
It's because we share an Instagram account and I'm always watching animal videos.
But one animal animal-related thing I find it really difficult to watch is two giraffes fighting.
It's horrible.
I don't know why. I just can't. The way they swing their necks, I think, oh God, don't hurt each other.
Use a different attack. Surely. If your main feature is your great big long neck, imagine a little hoof kick would be so surprising.
A headlock.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of room to work with.
Yeah. But if the main thing about you is your neck, that's the thing you're going to use to hit another giraffe with, I would switch it up.
But I imagine the muscles are so powerful in their necks. They've got to keep it sort of...
They sword fight with their neck, but they stand side by side and smack each other with their necks.
Yeah, huge hammer blows, really like whip them round. I imagine they've got just permanent headaches.
I mean, you've got to use what God gives you, I bet, you know, in a fight.
Heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. If you had a huge colossal neck, would you use it in a fight?
Neck, yeah. Would I use it in a fight? Yeah. I mean, if it was my my best feature, let's say.
Yeah, but then, you know, I've got this nose and I don't immediately peck people's eyes out when I'm in trouble.
Well, it's one of the things that people say about humans, isn't it? That we haven't evolved to survive in nature. I mean, what the hell would we do if we hadn't developed weapons?
Well, but we've developed weapons because we have such big brains.
Yeah.
Humans are interesting because calorically, our brains are so taxing, but they allow us to reduce the calories that we need to hunt through the use of tools.
Do you think that sort of argument is completely hypothetical and is almost like redundant? Like, because we have got big enough brains that we've developed weapons to therefore make sure that we're absolutely at the very top of the tree?
Well, I just believe in an evolutionary model where, like, the ones with bigger brains survived and therefore reproduced because they had those big brains and were able to make life easier for themselves.
Yeah.
We're also amazing attrition hunters, human beings. We can run for longer distances than almost any animal.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, actually.
Yeah.
A longer distance, so in terms of stamina.
Yeah, like the way that humans would hunt is we would like chase after an animal and it would speed ahead, but eventually we'd catch up and it would be like resting under a tree because it's used all its energy.
Yeah.
Whereas humans, because we've got very large glute muscles, that's one reason, which allows us to run much further. And then also...
those pants are looking oh so mighty fine.
We can hold our breath when we run, which most animals can't do. Most animals in and out with every movement, whereas we can control our breathing as we move. These are two adaptations for attrition hunting.
Wow.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah. We started out with a different story and we ended on some.
Well, there you go.
Stuff.
I always like to be educational when the time arises. But I hope you enjoyed the story. I mean, that was me, Phansad, Murud. We travelled all around and learned something about ourselves in the process. And speaking of learning something about yourself, you can learn more about us, not yourself, if you head to the Patreon section, which is happening after this episode. Patreon.com/tripologypodcast.
Yeah, also the Instagram. We've been doing some stuff on there. Really, really proud of what we've been putting out. So go show us some love on the Instagram account at tripologypodcast.
Yeah, exactly. And then email us, tripologypodcast@gmail.com. But I don't know about you, but the present is starting to feel like we've only got an hour of studio time left. And so we have compelled off to the next episode where you're going to tell us all about your adventure in Delhi, which I'm excited to hear about. Some stories that I've not heard yet.
Pretty good.
Live and in real time. Let's go there right now.
We'll see you there. Bye.